Well, Holloway won, so that's what matters.
A lot closer. I warned people.
It was pretty close. You did warn people.
You guys gotta be tuning in to the Plays and Fades after the weigh-in show featuring Liam Picks Fights on Fridays at 5:30 p.m. EST.
Yep. And at Gambles Gordo on Twitter.
Not Gordo Gamble. There's a difference.
Gordo does not gamble. Gambles Gordos.
You know Gordo means fat, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. I'm your host, Gambles Gordo, joined by this beauty of a man here, Kiro. And we're back for another slate of UFC action, another weekend of fun. I mean, this slate looks a lot of fun. No? Last weekend's card was really fun. You know what? Despite all like the low name value, we had 9 of 11 fights finish.
Yeah, that
Pretty
is fun.
Very unpredictable, as we mentioned earlier, but it was one of those
as
cards
our bank accounts found out.
No, we did okay. This slate is something I feel a lot more confident in, so let's not waste any more time. How are you feeling about this main event?
Yeah, obviously this is not as exciting as a main event as we've had the past 3 weeks, really. I mean, 3 huge ones in a row. That Holloway card, as we said, was not as exciting of a card, but it did end up being pretty fun. And that main event was huge, especially for us as huge Holloway fans. But this week, Tate and Vieira, obviously a bit lower ranked, not a title fight or anything close to it. But this is still going to be an exciting fight. I mean, Tate had a lot of years off after she had her kid, but coming off of that layoff, she looked amazing in her last fight out. I mean, she looked like the best version of herself, which is why, you know, she's top ranked again here. So an exciting fighter on that side. And then Vieira on the other side, definitely also an exciting fighter, but not somebody who looked as good in their last fight. I mean, kind of got demolished and did not look like the fighter that we want to put in some of our DFS lineups. But because of Tate's big layoff, it's a bit unsure as to how she's going to come out and perform. And with Vieira being not looking very good in her last bout, this is kind of a hard fight to predict. So this is not a fight that we're going to target a ton of. We think this could probably go either way. And at $8,300 and $7,900, you're not getting insane value on either side. So not a fight that we're trying to target this week.
If you look at last week where we had that Max Holloway who we wanted to have in every single lineup, this fight is definitely not that. If we had to pick a side, we'd be on the cupcake side. We should Tate. Lots of abilities. She did really, really well last time out. If she's able to imply that same game plan, she should be able to score decently well. However, lots of unknowns. A lot more fights on this card I want to target as a whole than this main event. But if I were to pick a side, it would be Misha Cupcake Tate. Moving right along to the underdogs we like this week. Hey, guess what? We actually have an underdog we're confident in.
There you go.
We actually have a bunch of them at that mid-range price tag. The first one we're going to talk about is Mr. Tucker Lutz. Now, Tucker Lutz is sitting at a price tag of 7.5K, and what's intriguing about that is he's only sitting at like plus 110 on the betting market right now. That line is going to keep moving up. A lot of people are hopping on the Tucker Lutz bandwagon this week, and so am I. He's facing Guy Sabatini, who I've backed in the past, and I really, really like his credentials on the ground. The problem is, if he doesn't get that ground game going, he does struggle a lot on the feet as well. He was knocked down, which led to his win last time, but did not look very good for him. And he relies a lot on that control time. The thing with Lutz is he's a big, stocky, fire hydrant-like guy who is really hard to take down, really hard to control, and he will bring the pressure on the feet as well. So I think I have a guy like Tucker Lutz who will pressure on the feet, stuff takedowns if he wants to, get takedowns of his own, and won't put himself in any really bad submission spots. He has a really, really good path to victory this fight at 7.5K. He's a fighter I really, really want to target. On the other side, another fighter we're kind of hopping on the bandwagon with. No, I've been a big fan of Adrian Janice for a long time, and he is going to be one of our core pay-up options this week. Sitting at a price tag of $9,100. Tell us a little bit about Mr. Dr. Pepper himself.
Yeah, as you said, Janice is a fighter that we like a lot. This week, he has a price tag of $9,100 on DraftKings, but we think that in terms of ceilings, he has one of the highest ones on this card. I mean, this guy's output is great, the pressure on the feet, his hands are super fast, and he's on a 4-fight KO streak, which is quite good. So he's put up 106 points, 107 points in some of those wins, and definitely has the ability to do that again against Grant, who's definitely a very hittable opponent. On the other hand, Grant at $7,100 is very low in that price range, and we think there's definitely some value to be had on that side too. You can't exactly count him out. But in terms of ceilings, we really like Yanez at $9,100.
Grant is very, very hittable. Yanez has shown to have probably some of the fastest hands, being the best hands in the entire division. So when you have a guy like that who's able to face a guy who's hittable, sometimes there's only one outcome. On the other hand, if Grant is able to implement his style of pushing Yanez backwards and maybe landing a few takedowns, it could be a bit dicey. So whereas we love Yanez as a huge ceiling kind of guy, he's also a bit risky in this spot. All right, time to talk about it. The people's main event, the fight that we are personally looking most forward to, Sean Brady, Michael Chiesa, two guys who we have backed a lot in the past, two guys who, well, Chiesa's burned me recently, but two guys with a lot of potential, a lot of power, a lot of abilities. They're facing each other in this co-main event this week, and it is going to be an absolute banger. Who do we have in this welterweight scrap?
Yeah, this fight is another really exciting one for us. I mean, these are two guys that are both exciting fighters. Sean Brady, 14-0, looking good out there. And Chiesa, one of the top guys in the division who's been around the block, you know? So these guys are two exciting fighters, but in terms of ownership, we like Brady a lot more than Chiesa this week. I mean, Chiesa is known for taking guys to the ground, grappling them, and getting wins that way. But on the other side of this fight, you have Brady, who's a prospect of the Gracie camp. And I mean, what that tells you is that he is also very, very good on the ground, which means that Chiesa's one path to victory kind of in that grappling might not be there as much against Brady. Obviously, the concern with Brady is that he hasn't been tested as much with as high level of competition as Chiesa, but on the feet, he has a huge advantage over Chiesa, who's a very hittable opponent for him. And if it stays on the feet, we think Brady has a huge advantage and the ability to score very high on DraftKings. And if it goes to the ground, Chiesa, 4 of his 5 losses have come from submissions on the ground where he got choked out. And Brady definitely has the ability to do that to him again this week. So Chiesa's only real path to victory is a little bit trumped by Brady. Even though he does have a price tag of $8,900, we think that he's definitely the side of this fight that you should be on.
A huge prospect in the division, 14-0, a lot of potential, having his toughest test to date, but one that kind of falls in his wheelhouse. Yeah, one that kind of falls in his wheelhouse. I mean, Sean Brady has a very well-rounded game, and whereas we haven't seen it that much, this is going to be the perfect test for him to see if that ground game is going to be able to hold up. He's more of an offensive wrestler than we've seen him be a defensive wrestler, so if he's able to not only stop those takedowns but reverse positions and keep it on the feet, it'll be a huge clinic for him and finally rise his stock up in this division. Another underdog that we're going to like this week is going to be Rafa Garcia. Now, Rafa Garcia is known to be that minus 450 guy last time out who just got rickrolled. People were super high on Rafa Garcia, and he goes out there against Chris Guttmacher and just doesn't live up to it. He gasses out after round 1 after thinking he has the finish and burns a lot of people, and now all of a sudden he's this underdog in the spot against a guy, Nathan Levy, who's only 6-0. A guy coming off the Contender Series who I bet on, but who I wasn't really impressed with his performance at all. Rafa Garcia is a great fighter who did not live up to expectations last time.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are forgetting him because of this. I think people are forgetting how good he actually is. Super durable, super tough. He's going to have a great ground game as well, but he does insane boxing combinations on the feet as well. Nathan Levy is a super powerful guy. We'll not take that away from him, but he's so untested. I mean, look at the guys he's facing. 2-1, 3-3, 1-0, 6-0. Like, guys who don't have that big of records. Meanwhile, Rafa Garcia went out there against Nasrat Hakparas and did a lot better than people expected. I think Rafa Garcia is a super live dog this week. Finishing potential as well. And I think that's also going to be a great scrap. I think that, however, how Rafa Garcia did gas out last time, I don't think Nathan Levy has that big of a gas tank either. I think it's going to be a super competitive fight. And if it's going to be a fight this close, I want the underdog. So Rafa Garcia, another underdog we're really liking this week.
Moving on to another guy that we like at $8,600, it's Cody Durden. I mean, this guy is fighting.
Good luck. Say it. You can do it. You can do it.
No. Orichileng.
Orikila. Yeah, just call him Aori.
Anyway, Durden is a guy who has not done super well in the UFC so far. He's what, 0-1-1, which is not ideal. However, his fights in the UFC have been against guys doing some weird bullshit on him. So, doesn't really say much about him.
Flying Triangle by Jimmy Flick.
Yeah, getting flying triangle choked is not an ideal way to go in one of your first 2 UFC fights.
That was against Chris Gutierrez too.
But, yeah, and the other one was against Chris Gutierrez, who is a very good UFC fighter. So they're not necessarily representative sample sizes of what this guy can do, and this week he's coming in as a big favorite against Orikileng.
Ooh, that was pretty good. I'll give you that one.
$1,000 more expensive on DraftKings, and we think that this makes a lot of sense, and he's a guy that we're going to target at this price range. He's definitely better on the ground, and Durden is the best wrestler this guy has ever faced and is an extremely durable fighter. So even the pressure that is going to be brought to him, we think he'll be able to withstand, and we definitely think that he is going to win this fight. So definitely a guy we like at that kind of middle of the salary range.
Last time out, say the name for me.
Oriki
Got absolutely pieced up over 3 rounds. He was relentless, yet he was super hittable. And he fights a guy Molina who we think that Oriki Lang had the advantage on the ground in. This time it's completely the other way around. Durden is a durable guy who will be forward pressing this time. He's going to be the guy who's going to be able to put that forward pace on, get those takedowns. Once he gets to the ground, Aori has been submitted on the ground before, so I would not be surprised to see that as an outcome, but I really like Cody Durden in this spot. Looking at other fighters who are around that mid-range price tag, it's hard for me not to talk about Kang this week. He's facing a guy in Raya, who is who is sub or bust. I mean, he has most of his submission, rightfully so. He's killer on the ground, but Kang's a guy who can hold his own on the ground and will absolutely piece up Yaya on the feet as well. He's a great price range at 8.2K. If you look up high on the slate, I think Pinheiro as the most expensive fighter is pretty well owned. Still mad at her for, I don't know, I'm not gonna call her acting, but she did kind of embellish that up kick loss to win that DQ fight right there, so I don't like that too much, but I do think she wins this fight against Sam Hughes. Other fighters I like is I kind of want to target this McKinney versus Ziyam fight. I think that this is going to be really competitive for the first 2 rounds, and then probably a finish in the third if McKinney tires out. So I think it's McKinney earlier, Ziyam late. It's going to be a really good fight. I want to target that one as well, but that's going to do it for us. I lied. One last thing. If you guys want a Hail Mary underdog, Joanne Calderwood is super cheap this week. I have to address it. 7K for a fighter who's been at the top of the division for a while. I think she goes out there and puts up a higher score than 7K indicates. Anyways, now we're finally done. That's going to do it for us on the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. If you have any more questions, you know where to find us, at Plays and Fades on Twitter, at Gambles Gordo on Twitter, right? Yeah, okay. Yep. How did I not know that for so long?
I don't know
either. Anyways, that's going to do it for UFC Vegas 43. Make sure to check out our live stream on Friday at around 5:30 p.m. EST, where we give out our best bets. I'll be posting my lineups on Saturday as well. So make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe to the channel as well, and let's make some money. Ding.